Hey there, hi there, Aries. Welcome to your dream reading for the month of August. End of August, but still made it, barely. Um, so, so I'm going to be reading for you a dream spread from the Tarot of Dreams deck. Okay, so so this is the Tarot of Dreams guidebook, and there's a spread in here, the story spread. So I'm going to be reading that to you. Okay, so basically, Aries, the story spread is designed especially for the Tarot of Dreams. The story spread encourages you to think of your life and your situation as a story. It also provides a method of investigation in challenging the stories told to us by our conscious minds. Often, our ultimate happiness depends on our willingness to constantly question these egocentric stories and see if they are really true, or if our ego is telling us something that only serves to cause us more stress. The first card position is called the story, and this card is a microism of the reading as a whole. The remaining cards are the rest of the story and serve to amplify and expand upon themes found in the first card. The story, position 1. The story, this card provides an overview of the chapter of the story that you are presently living. And we have here at the center the Queen of Wands, which makes perfect sense for you, Aries, because I do feel like there's this very passionate side to you, but it's also a very vulnerable part of yourself, that you really feel like it really is like this, almost like this necklace on the Queen of Wands chest. It's like you hold it very close to you, but you still it's almost like you are like, I don't know, I don't know how to say it. I guess you're vulnerable, but you are a passionately vulnerable person. Um, Vulnerability is something like you don't like people to see your vulnerabilities. I think that has a lot to do with like self-esteem, self-worth. So we're gonna dive into that. Um, let's see here, the Queen of Wands. So the personality of the Queen of Wands is a strong personality. In this picture, she looks like an actress, okay? Um, Posing for a publicity photograph. With her proud, charismatic demeanor and intense gaze, she challenges us to give our all in whatever endeavors we choose to pursue. Her red and gold costume related to the elemental sign of fire is very dramatic, but she has the aristocratic bearing to carry it off. The mask suggests that behind her very public face, she remains a small part of herself that she keeps private. The life of an actor or actress is not an easy one and requires determination and perseverance, qualities that are necessary if we are to see a project through to its conclusion. Stage of development. Something is left on the back burner, a flame kept lit in the background to be accessed in the future, allowed neither to die out nor to burn out of control. Approach. Queens are feeling. The Queen of Wands suggests that you pursue your goals by following your heart. If things look bleak, but your heart tells you to keep going, then keep going. Stay loyal to your own intuitions. 2/3 Aries and 1/3 Pisces. The Queen of Wands is able to maintain a direct and forceful commitment to her goals, Aries, because of her belief in the validity of her intuitions, Pisces. So even if you're not um, even if you're not really fully feeling I feel like you're feeling you're being on the back burner, and your intuition is telling you you need to be more direct and forceful. Like you need to be more committed to your goals, because your intuition is telling you that your beliefs are valid, but you keep getting them pushed into the back burner. So I don't like that that's happening to Aries. But let's see here. Let's see how this story unfolds, okay? So the rest of the story is what you think. This card describes your conscious mind or your ego, what it thinks about the story and what it thinks the story is in the final analysis. We have the Eight of Coins. It's like a clockworker here, okay? So, and there's also all the astrology signs on there as well. So time's a ticking. I feel like time's a ticking. Um, yeah. So Eight of Coins. I'm gonna take a look here at this Eight of Coins. Um, slow, steady work, a labor-intensive project, a sincere and committed effort. A wizard or scientist, depending on your point of view, sits in his library busily constructing an Ori, a clockwork device that replicates the relative movements of the solar system. The man has a goal and is working slowly and steadily to achieve it. This is not the time for impetuous moves or grandiose schemes. Instead, now is the time to buckle down and get one's hands dirty during all the tedious but necessary tasks that can no longer be avoided. He is carefully following his written plans and delicately fitting together the jewels and gears that will make his array run smoothly and accurately. Although he seems to be quite the expert, we know that he is still an apprentice rather than a master, because despite his capability, he still requires an instruction manual to build his machine. He must also rely on seemingly supernatural inspiration, as evidenced by the coins and crystals, which suggests that the man made mechanical components are driven by some undefined energy that lies outside the scientist's direct control. Thus, the machine is essentially a mystical one that straddles the physical world of science and reality on the one hand, and the mystical world of magic on the other. In a reading, this card describes a labor intensive project. This is not a time to look for instant gratification, but rather the rewards that come from a sincere and committed effort. Sun in Virgo. The best way to get through a labor intensive project is to identify Sun with the work, to become one with it, to place oneself in its service, Virgo. So you're basically working, I feel like, on taking yourself out of this like back burner energy that's like pushing you back. It's like you there are so much energies that are trying to keep you blocked, but you're very like hard at work at removing those blockages, removing those energies. Um, So, position 3 is what you get. This describes the physical circumstances in which you will find yourself if your story continues on its present path. Okay? And what you get here is the Page of Coins. Okay? So, that's interesting. That comes up. Alright, so the Page of Coins. Okay, so the Page of Coins, basically, the personality here is a young woman who gazes at the world with curious eyes. Having not yet attained practical experience in the world, she strives instead to study what resources she can find that will prepare her for her future endeavors. She has not wandered yet in a green meadow pictured on the card. Oh, look at that. There's green meadow back there. But is studying it from afar. Two pillars behind it represent knowledge that so far exists only as abstract concepts. Her serious expression and her cool, even gaze denote a professional, responsible attitude toward her studies and an analytical scientist approach to the world and to those around her. Um, yeah, I mean, hi. Um, so basically, like you haven't wandered yet in the green meadow pictured on the card, but you are studying it from afar. Same with the Eight of Coins. You're studying something. You're trying to learn something. You're in the beginning stages, Aries. The two pillars behind her represent knowledge that so far exists only as an abstract concept. Her serious expression and her cool, even gaze denote a professional, responsible attitude toward her studies and an analytical scientist approach to the world and those around her. Yeah, this like scientist, like you're almost like you're learning something, you're studying something, you don't really understand something. So, yeah, Aries, I think sometimes you need to make a choice. Like, the saying, like, the grass is always greener on the other side. Like, that may be the case for some of you, but in this case, I feel like right now it's like you are like reprioritizing what is important to you, Aries. Is it important for you to like um, be silent and not speak your truth and just hold and wait to proceed? Or is it better for you to come out in the open and finally talk about some of these issues that you've been having? So, the stage of development here, also like the serious expression here for the Page of Coins. It's her serious expression here is thoughtful, even gaze. It denotes a professional, responsible attitude toward her studies and analytical scientist approach to the world and to those around her. The stage of development, this card represents the beginning stage of a material endeavor. You could be starting to construct a physical object or beginning a project involving gardening, nutrition, diet, or exercise. You could be thinking about becoming a parent. Taking the suit of coins more literally, you could be embarking on a new savings plan or investment. Pages are learning. The page of coins is learning about material reality. The approach suggested would be to learn about the physical processes going on around you, right? And that's what's happening here is you're learning about the processes of things. Okay, so what you feel, this card explores the emotional roots and foundations of your present circumstance. This is where you'll find hidden emotional motivations. And we have here the Four of Coins, unlocking the box, unlocking Pandora's box. No, just kidding. But yeah, like you have the key here to unlock this box and see how much you've saved, how much you have earned. Like talking about like money, it's like financial reasons here. There's a lot of coins going on here, but I think that this Queen of Wands needs to feel financially like secure and safe. Okay, and there's like that's what's always being like threatened around you. Okay, Queen of Wands, Aries energy, because you're channeling this Queen of Wands big time. So I think it's like you're starting to realize like your analytical mind and your scientific mind is hard at work with this Eight of Coins, crafting what you need in order for you to feel protected and safe. And being on the back burner isn't going to keep you protected and safe forever. Yeah, for a little while, sure, being silent, not speaking up, not saying anything, that could work for a bit, but it's not going to work long term. So you have to like find your voice and find your strength within yourself and know that you've done the right things moving forward. And this is actually going to bring you this Four of Coins energy. So that's going to bring you your key and you're unlocking the box here. So we've got the Four of Coins. Um, so this is good fortune, okay? It doesn't happen, and there was this like tarot reader. I'll have to look up her name, but basically, like when you align with what you know you deserve, and you start manifesting what you know you deserve, things start to fall into place. Okay, Aries, and that's not from letting people push you aside and put you on the back burner and say your thoughts, your feelings are irrelevant. That goes against like what you are, Queen of Wands. Okay, you're not the silent type, Aries. Okay, so a high price paid for good fortune, fears that what one has will be stolen, miserlessness or greed. Yeah, exactly. Like if you're listening to miserly people, if you're listening to greedy people, you're not going to hear the answers that you need to hear. Okay, you need to align with people who are telling you your fortune is deserved, your abundance is deserved. Four is the number of material manifestation, and coins are the suit of the material. Thus, before we even look at the picture, we know that the Four of Coins will be materialistic. Heavy card. Our attention shifts from creation, as seen in the Three of Coins, to acquisition and maintenance. The card shows simply a rich man with his acquisitions. Okay? If I was a rich girl. No. Or if I was a rich man from the Fiddler on the Roof, that song. How we interpret this image depends on the context of the reading. It could mean simply good fortune. Our ship comes in. We hit the jackpot. But look closely at the man's face. His lips curve in a single smile because he is pleased with his hoard. But there is a strain around his eyes, as if attaining and maintaining his riches is more difficult than he thought it would be. Perhaps he has had to pay a price for his good fortune, a price that for many would be too high. Perhaps the key around his neck is a burden that weighs him down. The mere fact that the box requires a lock tells us that he lives in fear that the coins will be stolen. Perhaps the fear is justified, perhaps not. Either way, it has become clear to him that these coins have two sides. Sun in Capricorn, your ego, Sun, can all too easily find itself creating its own prison, Capricorn. Exactly. So that's the thing about this reading, okay, Aries, is that you're surrounded by energies that want to keep a box closed. They want to keep it locked away. They don't want to open it. They don't want to be generous. They don't want to they don't want to give you what you know you deserve and how you know you need to be given things, okay? All right, I don't know how else to put it, okay, Aries. I mean, the Queen of Wands isn't typically an energy you often see in the tarot that's like the silent, quiet type. But when it comes to your dreams, it's like deep down inside your subconscious, there is a Queen of Wands that wants to come out. And she wants to be seen, she wants to be heard. And it's not because she's saying, oh, look at me and flaunting things. It's because she's like, I know I deserve things. I know I deserve respect and my truth to be heard. And I will not be silenced anymore. And because this is a dream reading, I feel like that's the most important message to get through to you, okay? Now, anybody keeping a box locked on you, keeping things closed off from you, trying to control your finances, trying to control your abundance, you need to let go of that, release that, boundaries here apply and block those energies far, far away from you, okay? Um, so okay, so moving forward, we have what you deserve. This card shows what you expect on an emotional level. And we have here your Palace of Wands. Okay, Aries, you know you deserve this. Safe space, safe living arrangements, being guarded, being protected. There's butterflies here. It's beautiful, beautiful energy. Okay, butterflies are metamorphosis, transformation. So you want the transformation, you want the metamorphosis, you want your palace to manifest. But if there's certain hindrances, certain hordes, that's a fun word. If there are certain hordes of greedy people trying to attack you, then you know you need to start building your defenses. Okay, your Palace of Wands and getting your protection uh, to together. Okay, things need to come together so you feel safe and secure. Okay, your spirit guides, your ancestors, God, goddesses, everybody, get the whole team on board for this because this is your palace. Okay, the Queen of Wands without her palace, you that's not good. That's not a good thing. Okay, so let's look at the Palace of Wands here. Um, Especially if you feel like your palace is being threatened, that's not good either. You don't want that. You don't want to surround yourself with people who are threatening your palace. Okay. This card shows a warm environment that encourages creative inspiration and the launching of plans and projects. The structures are built in a mountaintop, suggesting both the long climb ahead and also the attainability of the goal. Butterflies symbolize transformation of dreams into reality. Okay. And red roses signify passion. The structures are lit from within with the fires of the heart. Statues portraying the Knight of Wands symbolize forward momentum and focus. So you do have a Knight of Wands here that's trying to guard the palace and help you guard the palace. So you have like a helper. Okay. Um, Now the Knight of Wands is the next card. Okay. So and this is what you tell. This shows how you present yourself to others and how you express yourself. Okay, so the Knight of Wands can be a little bit of uh, chauvinistic, or can forget what they're championing. Okay, so if you call in your Knight of Wands energy to come protect you, just make sure that it's the right Knight of Wands. Okay, sometimes you need to use this energy for good, right, versus evil. But again, it's like if this is an energy of a person in particular, take it how it resonates. You might want to be careful and cautious. So what you tell, this shows how you present yourself to others and how you express yourself. So I already know this card is usually talks about like somebody who forgets what they're championing, because they're too busy championing just to champion. Okay, but I don't think you're. I think that's the problem here, Aries, that you're having is that instead of using the Knight of Wands energy to subconsciously keep you feeling protected, it's becoming a problem because it's not making you feel protected. So you have it up here in your Palace of Wands. It's like an illusion. It's like it's meant to protect. It's just as passionate as you are about protecting. But what is it protecting? Like, I don't know, right? So, because if you're inviting that energy in to help protect your palace, but it's doing the opposite of that, what's the point? It's like, what? It's so contradictory. So let's take a look here at this Knight of Wands closer. So basically, the personality of the Knight of Wands is the essence of impetuosity. Okay, and we had that in the beginning, right? It's like the Queen of Wands isn't going to put up with impetuosity. Okay, probably saying that word wrong. Yeah, so he is single-minded. He only has room for one focus, one cause at a time. This is not to say, however, that he will always be faithful to that particular cause. Just as the Knight of Cups is in love with being in love, so the Knight of Wands is in love with being something or someone's champion. Yeah, it's an idea, but it hasn't like fully developed, I feel like. And possibly cares more about his role than whatever it is that he's championing. Okay, it's like, I don't know, like when you give somebody like a role, right, where they adapt a role or like a title. Mom. Okay. Mom. But they're not living up to that role, then you're dealing with the problem of them appearing as if they hold that role, but then it's like they're not holding that role. So it just gets complicated. Notice how he bears a standard. So, yeah, it's like he bears a standard that is blank, showing that it could just as easily represent one cause as another. I mean, that's a problem because you don't have somebody who's like fully committed to protecting you, Aries, like protecting your palace. You have somebody who is like maybe doing that. You know, who wants to live that way? I certainly don't. He pursues his passions with a tremendous amount of energy. The thing is indicated by the dragon he rides, but he is short. He has a short attention span. So 1 minute he's there and present, the next he's not. So we're like, okay. We often find him abandoning one cause for another, which he champions with just as much energy as he did the first one. Without this intense but short-lived commitment, we probably would never rouse ourselves to accomplish anything. So I don't know. Like it's a fickle energy, okay? Like a precarious stage of a project or an endeavor where we must invest our complete attention and loyalty if we want to have any hope of succeeding. I mean, that goes without saying. You want to have alrighty. Mom duties never end. But anyway, like the focus here though, Aries, is like you have to realize that like if you need assistance with the Palace of Wands, it has to be through your confidence and your passion for it, and it's not going to come. I don't feel like it's going to come from somebody who is like 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out. Like they're going between both worlds. They're not whatever other world is more important than your palace. I don't know, Aries. Okay. Blows my mind. But that's the thing here though, is that's what's happening. So just to be aware of that, if you do have assistance, it needs to come from the energy of like actually being of assistance. The actions need to align with the words. Okay. So yeah, because we probably would never rouse ourselves to accomplish anything. So abandoning one cause for another, which he champions with just as much energy as he did the first one, without this intense but short-lived commitment, we probably would never rouse ourselves to accomplish anything. So while there is still a need to accomplish something, it shouldn't be like so short-lived, especially when it comes to your palace. So stage of development, a precarious stage of a project or endeavor where we must invest our complete attention and loyalty if we want to have any hope of succeeding. Approach. Knights are doing. The Knight of Wands suggests that you put your plans into action so that they take on a greater reality than simply as daydreams. Astrology, 2/3 Leo, 1/3 Cancer. The Knight loves his flamboyant role, Leo, and he will go to any means to protect that which he owes allegiance, Cancer. So if he really does, value you, Aries, then the Knight will go to any means whatsoever to protect you. But you also have to show up as your own knight as well and protect those that you want to keep safe as well. Just don't forget that, because getting caught up, I feel like, in a web of lies, okay, with the Knight of Wands isn't going to protect you. It's not going to protect those you're allegiance to. And if you're protecting other people in that palace and the Knight of Wands is not helping with that, then you got to let that Knight of Wands go. So take that as that resonates. But I feel like that applied to some of you. So then we have here what you are, the parts of yourself that have been determined by the physical circumstances of your upbringing, okay? And you have the strength card here, okay? So you have great strength here, okay? So we have the strength card, okay? So that's a good one, because remember, we're dealing with like a fickle energy that wants to one minute help you, the next minute be your downfall. 1 minute support you, 1 minute not support you. It's like, okay, that's not, that's not stable. That's not long term. Okay. So, adrenaline, the fight or flight response. Yeah, exactly. Channeling inner desires into positive outlets, a balance between civilization and the inner beast. Yeah, like civilization is like being civilized, right? That's a different word, right? You would think civilization and civilized are two different words, but you would like them to be copacetic, but sometimes they're not. Sometimes the civilization is not simple. So after the first 7 cards, the Fool's Voyage now enters a deeper phase. The Fool must now take all the lessons he has learned so far and apply them to the problems and challenges that we all face at some time in our lives. Some of them over and over again. That's a key thing here, is you keep showing up as the Queen of Wands. You keep showing up to protect your palace, to protect yourself, to protect those you love, to work hard at that, to manifest that abundance for your palace, for yourself. But you keep getting drawn into a cycle. Yeah. So, yeah. In strength, the Fool must. Interesting how we have the clock in time, right? Time, the clock, is just a circle. Just keeps ticking away. In strength, the Fool must acknowledge the existence of a power within him that embodies great strength, but that also seems to have a mind and desires of its own. This theme is familiar with the previous card, the Chariot, with its powerful yet willful horses. Okay, so, in fact, the Chariot strength and the third card, the Devil, form a triumvirate. Whoa, okay. I've never heard that word before. With a common theme. Each deals with an amphibian inner force that can help us, but also has the potential for great harm if we don't harness it properly. Yeah. This card shows strength as a tiger that has been mastered by a woman. In biological terms, the tiger would represent adrenaline, a hormone that increases heart rate and blood pressure, triggered by mental or physical stress. This helps us deal with crisis situations by putting the body in a fight or flight mode, where it can perform feats it would normally be incapable. Or feats, I'm sorry. But I only got feats, though. So the end result may be fortunate or unfortunate depending on the circumstances. In one case, you might find yourself lifting the front end of a car to rescue someone trapped underneath. In another case, you might find yourself physically attacking someone simply because you're angry at them. It's important to understand that the inner tiger doesn't make a moral distinction between these two situations. That's why we have a counterbalancing element in our psyches. The woman on the card who controls the tiger, as shown, by the chain which encircles it, and is able to use its energy constructively while keeping it reined in when appropriate. Yeah, I don't think everybody has that ability, Aries. So you have to keep that in your mind, in the back of your mind, okay? Or not, maybe not in the back of your mind, too many like back burner, back in the mind. Maybe it's time to come to the forefront here, okay, Aries, and realize that you can't, like, if somebody else can't control their inner beast and they can't rein it in, okay, if they're missing that component, that's really not okay, especially to let that into your palace and into your energy and into your life. Because if they can't regain control over their emotions, then that puts you at risk. That puts your palace at risk. So you have to be cautious of that, okay? If you are already in touch with that inner beast and you know how to rein it in and you've trained it and you've got it well harnessed and all that stuff, that's great. Okay, Aries, I feel like you've already got that down. Okay. But the thing is, not everybody was raised that way. Um, yeah, this is because of your upbringing. I think you were raised like where you were taught to harness that. But also, you could have been somebody who might have been pushed to a breaking point. And I feel like you see when somebody is being pushed to their breaking point. You see when somebody is like over the over the top, angry, frustrated. Um, but if they don't know how to rein that in, I don't want you putting that energy around you, Aries. Okay? So balance is a key issue in dealing with the energy shown on this card. If we let the tiger have its way, there will obviously be many unfortunate outcomes, as we'll see later in the devil card. The woman on the card is a person of great beauty, self-possession, and strength of character. She is adorned with stars. Yeah, because the Queen of Wands and the woman on the strength card look very similar, okay, to each other. I feel like the Queen of Wands has to call in her tigress powers, to protect herself, keep herself out of harm's way. Especially when the Knight of Wands is not like showing up as they're supposed to, because that's again the energy that goes flip flops back and forth. So, so balance is a key issue, okay? Um, Now, this woman, she is adorned with stars, and her face bears the element sign of fire. The moon hanging from her ears suggests she can close the tiger from her intuitive center. All right. I don't know what happened. Overnight, my 2-year-old suddenly has this huge new vocabulary, which I love. So, it's really adorable too, especially when she just talks little tiny words and makes sounds to emphasize the word. It's so adorable. So yeah, so the strength here is you're adorned with stars, okay, and her face bears the element sign of fire. The moon hanging from her ears suggests she controls the tiger from her intuitive center. She's a powerful figure, yet she dominates the tiger not by brute strength, but by intelligence, sympathy, and love, and provides a civilizing influence to tame that beast. Wow. Okay. Hebrew letter Teth means serpent. The serpent here represents the same untamed animal energy symbolized by the tiger. Astrology, Leo is the sign of physical strength as well as dominating and dramatic energies. Okay. So I feel like that applies to the Knight of Wands as well, because it's all are elements of fire here. Strength is fire. Okay. Queen of Wands is fire. Knight of Wands is fire. Palace of Wands is fire. There's a palace of burning fire and passion. But we don't want to set the palace aflame and have it be destroyed. We want the palace to thrive. Almost like it can survive the fire, okay? So, but the thing is with that is also there needs to be a balance here. Balance is key here. So sometimes using civilization to rein in the wild beast, it's okay to do that. And let's see what else we have. Okay, so we have here um, what you need. This card shows what you feel you need to be happy on a physical level. In other words, what level of physical comfort or security you need on, or what level of risk. Okay, and we have here the Magician card. Okay, the Magician's power is endless. Okay, it's infinite. There's abundance of it. Okay, it never ceases to amaze with its magical powers. Okay, so that Magician coming in is a really strong indicator that even though there is a huge level of risk here, you've got fire everywhere, but fire can be used for good too. It doesn't. Passion is an okay thing. It's okay to be passionate. Okay, the thing is like you don't want to go so over that, like over into that energy field that you're not even protected anymore. Okay, that's not a good vibe. So you want to be protected. So let's take a look here at this Magician card. I feel like the Magician is offering protection. It's got all the elements here to help protect education, training, knowledge, common sense. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like the Knight of Wands can forget the common sense. I feel like that I'm talking about a specific person in your life, Aries. Okay. They forget the common sense because they're too drawn in to the flame, like a moth to flame. And like you want there to be fire and passion, and you want there to be chemistry, and you want there to be that spark. But if you're being pushed aside and you're the queen, that's not gonna fly, Aries. Okay, you're not gonna put up with that. Translating thoughts and plans into action. See, you want action here, not just words, not just thoughts, but actual action. As the fool embarks on his voyage, the first person she encounters is the Magician. It's like you have to go back and have your first encounter with the Magician again. Start over again. As soon as we are born, our minds immediately begin processing sensory input, drawing conclusions about it and learning from it, and it is the function that the Magician represents. In the language of archetypes, he is the wise old man, variations of which we will encounter in a few different cards. As a magician, he is the teacher, the mentor who gives invaluable advice. As we set out on our individual quests, in a reading, the magician can represent a person who performs the function in our lives. This function. On a more personal level, we rely on our inner tunities. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Together. Inner magician. Okay, I was like, what? Okay, to help us learn new skills and abilities and to recognize opportunities. Often this happens on such a deep level that the realization or learning seems to come in a flash of inspiration, as if a real live magician has zapped into our heads. Okay, so maybe a real live magician is appearing like a person who represents this energy. You've got your Dumbledores and your Gandalfs, your wizard energy with the long white beard. Okay, maybe it's your magician is your spiritual belief system. Maybe it's a spiritual healer. Maybe it's a father figure or a grandfather figure. I feel like grandfather time reminding you of all of these things, and that's one way to begin the approach of the Tarot of Dreams. Magician. His sphere of power illuminates for us the four suit symbols, signifying different approaches to a problem solving. Lightning crackles around the sphere, illustrating the very flash of inspiration that seems to leap into our minds, just when we are at wit's end. His eyes are tired and kind, yet they also display a steely determination to shepherd the recalcitrant reluctant student toward the insights that await, if only we can apply the will and self-discipline needed to attain them. Yeah, and I feel like the magician is trying to pull in this Knight of Wands energy, because I feel like sometimes you're like at your wit's end. Okay, you're like, I don't know what to do with this person or this energy that this person is giving off, and you're hard at work. You're 8 of Coins. You're working on your mission here. Okay, your scientific work, your wizardry work. Whatever it is that your craft. Okay, you're doing that. Thing is that your Page of Coins is like, okay, well, how am I going to um, work on my craft and make that better and enhance my abilities? I need the 4 coins to do that. I need to unlock something here. I need to manifest something here. And now I'm trying to protect my palace, and I got the Knight of Wands who's like helping, not helping, supportive, not supportive. Like, which one is it? So you call in your strength, you call in your magician to help guide you on this path, on this story unfolding. Um, um, All right, so there's more here about the magician, okay? The four suit symbols, wand, cup, sword, and coin, okay? So you got your powerful tools here. Symbolize different ways of perception or different methods of action. Wands alert us to take an active role. Exactly. The Queen of Wands is coming out because you need to take an active role, which you're doing here, Aries, okay? This is to be creative and to forge ahead despite difficulties. Cups murmur to us to consider others' feelings and to examine our own, and to take an intuitive approach. Swords purpose that we analyze the situation, and coins tell us what we need to consider the consequences to our actions. The material results that we will be left with. Any situation will require a combination of some or all of these modes of action, and the magician, whether as another person or as our own inner faculties, can help us choose the right mixture for the job. There are no cups in this reading, so this magician is like telling you, like, you have to use it, reminding you again about your intuitive approach. If you've already seen the wands, you've already seen the coins here. It's now in time to trust your intuition here, not just rely on one thing, but all the things. Okay, whether as another person or as our own faculties can help us choose the right mixture for the job. And the right mixture for the job is your wands and your coins. Okay, we're facing difficulties. This is what you're trying to protect here, okay? You're alert and you're taking an active role. You're being creative and you're forging ahead despite difficulties, okay? That's what you're doing here. Now, the cups aren't showing the cup isn't here until the magician arrives, okay? The magician is saying, there is an intuitive side to this. There's a feelings to examine here, our own, okay? So we got the mixture going on. The necessity to be flexible and choosing one suit energy over another and combining them according to the task at hand is shown by the pink infinity symbol, the sideways 8, floating between the suit symbols. Like the shape of the symbol itself, we must be able to bend and twist our approach as circumstances change. This symbol will appear in more depth in the temperance card. The infinity symbol also tells us that the ability to learn from our mistakes and to find inspiration is always within us, even in the darkest of times. The magician's throne sits on a stone disc, which floats above the clouds, showing us that he is not grounded in any particular place or time. On an inner level, we can always learn from our surroundings and circumstances and devise new ways of dealing with them. On an outer level, our capacity to learn from a teacher or mentor does not stop at childhood, but can be invoked at any time, no matter our age, whenever we meet someone who knows something we would like to learn. The floating disc also reminds us to avoid being too set in our ways and to remember the flexibility and adaptability needed in order to fully implement the magician's teachings. In his hands, he holds a long staff topped with a complicated curling design. If the curls are seen as snakes, then the staff is reminiscent of the caduceus, which in ancient Greek symbology represents a herald. The magician could certainly be seen as a herald, bringing us word of conclusions reached by subconscious processes in our minds. The caduceus is also a common symbol for Hermes, messenger god of the ancient Greeks, whom the Romans called Mercury. Mercury is the astrological symbol assigned to the magician. So, and assigned to the magician in this and many other decks. In astrology, the planet Mercury symbolizes communication and actions of the mind. Hermes also serves as a guide of souls or psychopomp, who, upon our deaths, escort us to the afterlife. This theme is echoed in several examples of the wise old man teacher archetype in popular culture, where at the end of the quest, the teacher reappears to guide his former student to a new plane of existence. Hebrew letter Beth means house. The magician allows us to begin building a rudimentary mental dwelling from which we can observe and learn from the world. Astrology. Mercury is the planet of thinking and communicating. Okay, so there's a lot of thinking going on here because you have your wands, you have your coins, you have your strength, you have the magician here, you have the 8 of coins. You're thinking about how things are going to evolve in order for you as the Queen of Wands to safeguard and protect what you know you deserve, which is your Palace of Wands. Okay, full of butterflies and light and love. This is such a beautiful palace. I'm gonna move there now, but there's also like a figure standing like outside, almost like calling like the person looking at it toward the door. But anyways, it looks really like legit. Okay, there's butterflies. It's beautiful. Like I would totally live there. I love butterflies. I designed like my home with butterflies. like so yeah, butterflies are awesome. So you got this going for you. Okay, you got the magician here, like wielding this power of like, you've got this. I feel like this magician is showing up and being like, you have got this. You can do this. You can protect yourself. You can get off that back burner. You can start speaking your truth, and you can align yourself with your palace and not feel so scared and timid and insecure, because that's not who you are, Aries. That's not who the Queen of Wands is. Okay, so um now we have here um, what you expect. This shows what your conscious mind or ego expects for the future. And we have the faith card. Okay. And there's all the different symbols here, or at least a lot of different symbols here. I don't know if it's like every single faith based, practice. Um, but it's a whole circle of symbols, okay, of different faith systems or religious systems, depending how you view it, different spiritualities, okay. All right, so faith. Okay, so we're talking about faith here. This is a good card because I feel like you need faith and you need to believe in yourself, Aries. I feel like you've lost faith in yourself for quite some time. I feel like too long. I'm getting like the number 2, like 2 months, 2 weeks, 2 days, 2 years, 2 hours, however long, 2 minutes, not 2 seconds. Okay, it's been 2 seconds, right? 2 seconds too long, alrighty? But you basically like lost faith and believing in yourself. And it's because you're hard at work trying to protect your palace. You're hard at work trying to work on your craft. You're hard at work trying to learn new things and new experiences so that you can unlock this box to your abundance. You can unlock this box to believing in yourself again and not relying, I feel like, on others so much when you know they have like a hoarding problem or something like that. I don't know. I'm just getting that. And then you have strength, okay? And your Knight of Wands is like, yes, they can be helpful sometimes, but they're not helpful all the time. So that's when you need your magician and your strength to come in and help, clear all that energy for you so you can get back to your faith, okay? So believing deeply in something, finding meaning above and beyond the material world. Ethics and morality, okay, philosophy, religious teachings and traditions, a conceptual framework against which things can be placed in context. In the preceding cards, the Fool has discovered the underpinnings of consciousness. The Magician and the Priestess provide mechanisms which enable him to function in the world, while the Empress and Emperor teach him rudimentary ways of seeing the world. But as these mechanisms grow in sophistication and complexity, they also present a multiplying challenges. Under the magician's tutelage, we may fall prey to unscrupulous mentors. Exactly. You got to be careful of who you're listening to, because there are some people out there who are like posing as magicians and they don't really know half the things they're talking about, and they don't have like hardly any worldly experience and any traveling through the subconscious experience. Okay, so you got to know who your magicians are here. So yeah, basically the Empress. So the Priestess may mislead us with illusions, right? Well, the good thing is here is you don't have the actual Priestess card in your reading, but this is about, and the Fool is in reference to your journey and how you're like young in this experience. Not maybe like, I'm not saying like, depending how you resonate with the word young, but I'm saying like you're new to this experience, okay? And you have the Page of Coins. This is a new experience for you. You've never had to like protect your palace so fiercely, okay, Aries? Or maybe it is a lesson you're relearning, but now you have a new teacher or a new mentor, somebody who actually is bringing you back to your faith and belief in yourself. And again, the Emperor and the Empress. I mean, the Empress is a very loving, nurturing, motherly energy and motherly quality. Okay, I have the Empress card right here. She's holding the baby. Okay, this is you. Okay, Aries, you're the baby in this picture. Like, you need to be like loved, and there's like a cornucopia harvest here happening for you. Okay, so you need to feel loved, you need to feel abundant, you need to feel protected, not just in material wealth and gain. Okay, yes, you do want that financial stability, but if that's the theme here of it keep being in conflict with your palace, then yeah, you do need to like get re in touch with your spirituality, your faith, or your religion, however that resonates. And the emperor, he guards his people, he guards the vulnerable, he guards and protects those that he loves. And you, as the Queen of Wands, are trying to protect your palace. And the Strength card, you're trying to protect those that you love and care for. And a very egotistical emperor is not going to be helping you out. So you got to be careful with that energy. So the priestess may lead us with illusions, but I don't feel like you're being led astray here. Chimeras and wishful thinking. The empress can smother and stifle our individuality. Um, so the empress can smother and stifle our individuality. Yeah, I don't feel like that's happening for you here, but I do think like somewhere in the past you were feeling a bit stifled. And the emperor can exemplify the worst that humanity has to offer, as evidenced by mankind's tragic history. Yeah, an emperor who's like super egotistical can be a tyrant, a dictator. We see that in today's political system. But moving on from that, to avoid succumbing to the endless dangers inherent in the previous four cards, the Fool must now develop a larger sense of meaning that supersedes the imperatives of the Empress and Emperor. This sense is usually thought of as a religious nature, although, as we shall see, it needed not encompass a specific religious ideology. This sense of meaning is what allows us to develop a feeling for concepts of right and wrong, which can help keep the worst excesses of the previous cards at bay. It gives us a sense of balance so we can appropriation energies out of the previous card. Yeah, so with this faith card, okay, it can comfort us at difficult times, okay? It's supposed to give us a sense of balance by giving us a higher ideal to believe in to make us feel as if our lives have a larger purpose. On the card, a robed figure clasps his hands in contemplation. In most tarot decks, this card is called the Pope or the Hierophant and shows a specifically male leader, often a specific religion in this card. A generic figure was chosen to represent the concept of faith without tying into a specific gender or religion. The figure's robes could be emblematic of any several religions or none. One may have faith in a code of ethics or an ideal way of being without necessarily believing in the supernatural. Although some religious orders require shaving one's head, in this card, the baldness may simply have occurred naturally and in any event symbolizes an openness to larger considerations than the mundane world. The faith card represents that part of ourself which is capable of placing the events, thoughts, and emotions of our lives into a greater context, giving pattern and structure to them, and providing a framework with which to place them in context. This can include traditional religions and their trappings, but can also include personal philosophies and beliefs that are unconnected with what we usually think of as religion. While this card helps us deal with the shadow elements of the other cards, faith has its own shadows. The human tendency to avoid change leads us to invest our moral frameworks with the aura of infallibility, thus leading to bias and prejudice, which leads to bigotry. Much insight can be gained by carefully observing the actions of the leaders of organizations with even the most enlightened seeming goals. Undoubtedly, you'll find that at least a few of them demonstrate intolerance, inflexibility, and a desire to use others' faith as a pawn to gain personal power. It is partly for this reason that the nine symbols shown on the card are spaced evenly around the image and are connected by a glowing circle. No one outlook or framework can possibly define or explain the whole of reality. Each religion or philosophy is one facet out of endless possibilities, and none can lay claim to the infallibility, okay, or exclusivity. Hebrew letter, vow means nail. In the faith card, we seek to nail down philosophies and beliefs through intellectual means. As the nail penetrates, so we attempt to penetrate the unknown through the power of conscious thought. Astrology. Taurus is the sign of creating practical, conservative routines. This relates to the aspects of faith that deal with creating and then remaining faithful to frameworks and structures of meanings. Okay, so it's also like a full circle moment, I think, for you, Aries, because you've been in this cycle before, you've been in this pattern before where you've seen yourself being pushed aside, being put on the back burner. I feel like you've been tried, like people have tried to make you feel bad about being like seen or heard. Um, and I feel like you're not going to tolerate it anymore, Aries. I feel like you've like outgrown, you've graduated from that. The magician is like your wise teacher. You know, it's like you've graduated from that now. It's like you've seen the cycle, you've seen the pattern, you've experienced the needing to protect your palace, but being pushed aside when it comes to your need to protect that palace and protect yourself, and you know that you deserve it. So, you know, your palace is your home. It's where you live. It's your safe space. So that being attacked is not going to keep you, that's not going to get you like feeling too great about yourself. You're going to feel like, whoa, this is an attack, you know, and it is an attack. So you have to strategize here moving forward of knowing like you can turn to your faith, you can turn to your belief systems, you can turn toward the knowledge and information of those who've come before you that have experienced what you're going through or similar situations, so you can learn from those situations on how to best move forward. And I feel like your most you know, your inner strength is really you knowing that about the situation that you're in, and realizing that you know what you deserve, you know what you don't deserve. So moving forward, Aries, don't feel pressured to like accept somebody else's ideology or belief system, because that's what's been working for them. They're not in your situation. If they're not in your situation, if they've never been in your situation before, you know, don't listen to their advice. You can say thank you, appreciate it, and move on. But if you're following your own intuition and trusting in your own strengths here, then you're going to know what you need to do moving forward, Aries. And that is keep protecting those you love, keep protecting yourself, okay? Because that's your best course of action. You don't deserve to be, you know, under attack or under siege by any energies or anybody, okay? So that's my reading for you. Okay, Aries, love and light always. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It's amazing if you do. Luna says bye, and love and light always. Thank you so much for watching. Alrighty, until next time, bye.